Topic title for today, viruses of the mind. Viruses of the mind. Look, guys, your life becomes the result of your thoughts and your beliefs. And over the past few weeks, I've been listening to a lot of Ed Milet and a couple of other guys. One of the recent recordings that I listened to by Ed, I wanted to kind of share with you. He talked about self-image. He talked about self-worth, self-ideal, kind of how we identify ourselves. And it reminded me of what Zig Ziglar once said. I've quoted this a lot of times on these calls that we've done. You cannot consistently perform in a manner that is inconsistent with the way you see yourself. I first learned that from Zig. And so let me ask you guys a question. Are you a scarcity thinker? You know, I've been thinking, like, there's been all sorts of drama, whether it's in politics or business or whatever. People are not thinking abundance, they're thinking fear. They're not thinking faith. And right now, in times of fear, whether it's with a nation or business, I'm thinking about faith. I'm thinking about abundance. I'm thinking about when you're elite, when you're a champion, what would a champion do in this situation? Yeah, you may naturally have some feelings of fear, but that faith also has to come in knowing that things are going to work. You just pivot. Champions don't quit. Champions simply make adjustments. They pivot. They adjust the sails of the boat. So do you constantly focus on, number one, what you don't have, what you could lose, which is what I think a lot of people think is what they could actually lose, what might go wrong? Because here's what we do know. All right, 90% of what we worry about, my friends, it never actually happens. And the 10% that does usually is not as bad as we thought. So think about it for yourself. Are you an abundance thinker? I know that I am. I am constantly thinking about what's possible, what I already have, and what is about to come into my life. And I want to repeat this because it's very important. I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful in advance for what's about to happen. Because gratitude must come before breakthrough. Because people are always waiting. Let me give you a couple examples. They're always waiting for stuff. They're waiting for the next rank. Okay? They're waiting for their trading account to explode. They're either waiting to get married or get out of the relationship, whatever. They're always waiting for stuff. They're waiting for a sign before they become grateful. They're waiting for the result in advance. But you have to believe it, you've got to conceive it, and you'll eventually achieve it. And so right now, you got to think ahead, like believe ahead. You got to act as if it's already on the way. I remember reading in the New Testament, it says, call the things that are not as though they already were. So say the things that are not right now in your life as if they already were, that it's already here. Because if you can constantly believe for yourself that life is just always a battle, that you're always struggling, barely getting by, then your mind will keep attracting more of that into your life. Okay, you can call it the law of attraction, you can call it energy, vibes, call it whatever you want. What you focus on is what you're literally going to magnetize into your life. Look, here's the reality. I'm going to be upfront with you. You have allowed the virus to spread. Okay, and I get it. Some of you are saying, well, that's not on me. That's my ex-spouse, that's my parents, my upbringing, it's my sibling, it's my former business partner. Here's the truth. Sometimes it's hard to hear it. You have allowed those outside circumstances to control the atmosphere of your mind. Why? Because your mindset is flawed. My mindset was flawed. Like, you have accepted the idea that things are happening to you when in reality things are happening for you. So that's the mindset that I teach. My life is winning. My life is filled with peace. It's filled with happiness. It's filled with success. Now, even if I don't feel it yet right now, this is what I'm attracting to myself. Yes, I have down days, down times like everybody else, but people say, well, it's easy for you to feel that way. Look at where you are. But what they don't realize is, how did I get here? Because I was declaring, affirming, and saying those things long before they were true in my life. Think about that. See, your thoughts can be a virus, just like a phone, a computer. Once a virus enters your mind, things start to slow down, like sluggish, right? You start to become sluggish. You lose momentum. You want to quit. You want to quit the marriage, quit the business, quit church, everything. You just become distracted. You have no energy, no stamina, no motivation to do anything. This is what happens when people catch a mental virus. They stop chasing goals. They stop their routines. They get lost in distractions. They're scrolling Instagram, scrolling TikTok, scrolling YouTube. One video turns into 10. 2 hours goes by. 3 hours goes by. 1 minute turns into hours. They're wasting their lives. They're being busy, but they're not productive. And before you know it, your brain enters into survival mode. I've been there. You stop thriving. You start just getting by. You just hoping the bills get paid. But listen, you only get what you tolerate in life. Okay? Stop tolerating what you don't want. Like some of you, you're not changing because the pain of your current situation has not outweighed the pain of change. That's the truth. You have settled into comfort. You're comfortable being broke, comfortable being a little overweight. But you got to the point, you got to get to this point where you say, look, I'm done tolerating this. I'm not living like this anymore. Today, change. Because the good is the enemy of great. You can't do what you did last month or last year and expect to reach new heights this year. That's the truth. I can't rely on what I did 5 years ago. Like when you wake up in the morning, you got to ask yourself, am I happy? Sometimes forget the happy, just get to freaking work. Am I excited to actually live today? Today's the day the Lord has made. I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. You just smashing the snooze button of life, thinking about all the fires you got to put out, all the emails and how overwhelming work is. You're sick of this and that. Guys, that is survival mode. I wake up I'm going to attack the day. When you get stuck in this, you convince yourself, well, at least I'm doing better than some people out there. But deep down inside, you know for yourself, you don't want their life. You want more, right? You want abundance. So ask yourself, what am I tolerating in my life? What am I allowing? What have I been accepting that I should not be accepting? What do I hate or dislike about where I am right now, and what am I willing to do about it? I have a really famous quote. It's not mine. I actually stole it from a guy named Mason Weaver back in 1999. He said, when the pain to stay the same is greater than the pain to change, that's when you'll change. You know what? For some of you, the pain's just not bad. You don't mind just barely getting by, having enough month left at the end of the money. You know? Just kind of getting by, eating how you want, sleeping how you want, barely being able to pay the bills. You go from wanting to be a champion to just wanting to be average. You were not meant to be average. Remember, you are a giant killer. You are a conqueror. That's who you are. And so it's time to identify these things in your own life. Sometimes you just got to write this stuff down. You got to be real with yourself, have self-awareness. You got to ask yourself, what am I going to do about it starting today? Not next week, not tomorrow, not next month. People always procrastinate, put stuff off, and then you forget all about it. This is your challenge, my friends. Take back control. I want you to do 3 things today. This is my call to action to you guys today. 3 things today. Write down the things that you are sick and tired of. And you're like, but Brandon, that's negative, guys. If you don't write these things down, if you don't think about it, you're sick and tired of being broke, sick and tired of being tired all the time, sick and tired of your job, sick and tired of being overweight. You got to write this stuff down. It could be about your health. It could be about your finances. It could be about your relationships. Whatever it is, 3 things, write it down. Write down the actions that you're going to do starting today. So let me just give you one quick experience that myself and Dr. Josh Lee had. We talked about trading. We talked about trading. We talked about trading. We thought about trading and how awesome trading is. And then we just got to the point that we just started doing it. We said, okay, we're not going to skip a single day of trading. If there are opportunities in the market, we're trading every day. 5 days a week. We don't trade weekends. 5 days a week, we are going to trade. So rather than just talking about the future and the dreams and how awesome it's going to be, you want to change your situation? What are the actions I need to do starting today? It's not going to be the end of the week. I'll do it at the end of day. That mentality, honestly, it's for losers. You might be offended that I said, but I get so tired of people saying end of day. What did Apollo say to Rocky? He said there is no tomorrow. Just get started on it today. Be specific. You don't wait for the perfect time. There's never a perfect time. Repeat the action consistently. See, success is built in the small, repeated decisions that you make every day. I learned that from John C. Maxwell. Small, repeated decisions. See, today matters. You can't keep putting it off and expect change. You are the CEO of your life. It is time to take control. God is your CEO. You are the CEO of your life. You're the chief executive officer of your own life. You got to act like it, though. You're acting like a freaking poor, broke employee. You got to lead yourself. Make decisions that your future self will thank you for. I hope that this message has challenged you. I've been a little bit upfront with you guys today. I hope that it inspired you. Now, instead of just being all happy and motivated, go apply it. Thank you for joining me on Morning Motivation. We'll talk again soon. Hope that you guys have an amazing day, an amazing week. Go crush it. We'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.